Right. Good evening, everybody. Uh, just first thing is I'll share the screen. Then we will start the topic. Right. Till last class, I have dealt related to the parts of the components and the definitions which are related to hydroelectric power station. In detail, all the definitions of hydroelectric power station we have discussed till now. Almost hydroelectric power station has come to an end, but there are few important topics or few terms which we need to understand more regarding hydroelectric power station. In this lecture I will continue with these terms. Okay, these new terms we will try to understand. Okay, right. Today's topic is about, right, is related to hydrograph. Okay, it is related to hydrograph and classification of hydroelectric power plants. Right. Right. We will study about hydrograph, low duration curve, mass curve, and later we will go for classification of hydroelectric power plants. What is hydrology means? Hydrology, it is like, hydrology is a study. It is related to which type of study and what includes in this hydrology. Let us see. It deals with occurrence and distribution of water over and under the earth surface. Okay, whatever the water which is there on the earth surface and which is under the earth surface. Hydrology deals to study of water on the earth surface and under the earth surface. Right. Coming to the next term which is related to hydrology is precipitation. Precipitation is a commonly used word. It is not like a new word. Okay, how the water precipitates. Okay, how the vapor precipitates. Okay, we will right. So we will read about precipitation. Just I'll tell the definition of precipitation now. Precipitation is one of the major phases of hydrological cycle. Okay, whatever the hydrological cycle is there. What is hydrological cycle? Cycle means it will occur in a chain. A chain of process will occur one after the another, and this will repeat and repeat continuously. What is hydrological cycle is suppose if water in a river or water in a sea, first thing it gets evaporated by sun. Okay, whenever on a sunny day or on a day with sunlight, this water gets evaporated. This evaporated water forms cloud. Okay, this cloud again will turn into water, or this cloud will turn into fog, mist, whatever is there, or it will turn into again rainfall, and again the rainfall reaches the river or sea. Actually the water which is getting evaporated from sea or river, that water is again getting back, means you are not putting any new thing, or you are not removing any water. Okay, the water which is getting evaporated or which is leaving that river or sea will again come back, and it will again reach the river or sea. So this cycle, or the chain in which this occurs, is called as hydrological cycle. So what is precipitation is, it is one of the major phases of hydrological cycle. In hydrological cycle there are some phases which will be covered, and precipitation is one of the major phase of the hydrological cycle. Water from rain, snow, hail, dew, and frost is collected by the rivers. Water from rain. Okay, what is rainwater? Whenever rain comes, the water will drop down to river. Water from rain, snow, hail, dew, and frost. Okay, right. Snow means we know that the white part of the is next. Hail, dew, frost. These are the small. Right. Coming to the coming to the definition of precipitation, again, water from rain, snow, hail, dew, and frost are indirect forms in which water is stored. I mean, dew means a few drops of water will fall down. Frost means you will see like a foggy structure. Snowy means, I mean, in winters in some areas, I mean, at the time we wake up, we see blurred images. That is called as frost. Hail, snow, these all are some indirect forms of storage of water. I mean, water will get discharged from that whenever the temperature rises, or whenever the day starts and we reach around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Then whatever the fog and mist, whatever is there, it will eliminate, and the whatever the water droplets which will come out, they again come to the ground, and they reach the river or pond or lake, whatever there are nearby. So this is the way in which precipitation occurs. Right. Next is coming to hydrological cycle. This is the pictorial view of hydrological cycle. What I have explained. See, water is taken from the sea. Okay, I mean, in presence of sunlight, water is evaporated from the sea, and it is reaching the clouds. Okay, whenever the clouds form, and during the evening time, or whenever and the sunlight or the daylight gets down, then again you receive rainfall, and again water will reach or come back to the sea or river. So this is the chain process in which exchange of water is taking place, so which is called as hydrological cycle. Right. Coming to hydrology, evaporation means evaporate. I mean, the water evaporates. Means evaporation means, I mean, um, conversion of water into vapor like. Okay, the water in the rivers evaporate by solar heating, right? Whenever we boil water, we can tell that water is evaporated, and the water is in the form of steam. I mean, boiling water means definitely you'll have fumes above the bowl on which above the bowl in which water boils. So we can tell that water is getting evaporated into steam. Right. So similarly, the water in the rivers evaporate by solar heating. Whatever the solar heat or the sunlight, whatever it falls on the surface of the river, okay, it will evaporate the water. Therefore, the net quantity of the water decreases. Obviously, with this we can tell that I mean, some water in of the river, lake, or pond will get reduced. Okay, so this is called as evaporation. Evaporation is just nothing but conversion of water into vapor. Okay, due to sunlight or by solar heating is called as evaporation. Coming to runoff, part of precipitation is available as stream. Okay, what is precipitation? Precipitation is many forms. I mean, water in many forms will come under the category of a precipitation. What is runoff? Runoff means only the flowing water, or the liquid or the fluid which we can touch, the liquid which we can touch with our hands, that only will come under the category of runoff. Okay, hail, fog, mist. Okay, um, dew, snow, this will not come under the category of runoff. Runoff means only the river water which is flowing is called as runoff. What is runoff? Means part of precipitation is available as stream. Runoff is equals to total precipitation minus total evaporation. Okay, what is runoff? Means runoff is total precipitation. Precipitation is all forms of water minus, okay, all forms of water other than evaporation will come under the category of precipitation. Precipitation minus evaporation will give runoff. Runoff means only the water which is flowing, or only the water which is in the form of liquid is called as runoff. Okay, right. Water in the form of steam, or water in the form of fog, mist, hail, snow, okay, dew, these will not come under the category of runoff. So we have dealt with the definitions of precipitation, evaporation, and runoff. Right. Coming to the next point, factors affecting runoff. Okay, what is runoff? Runoff means only the flowing water, the water which is in the form of liquid is only called as runoff. Right. Factors affecting runoff. Right. What are the factors that affect runoff? Are geographical conditions of the site. Okay, right. What are geographical conditions? Water. Geography. I mean, the placement of area. Where the area is placed. Okay, geographically. How the. Geographically where the area is situated. Or based on the geographical conditions. Okay, it may be nearer to the equator or farther to the equator, or it may be at north pole or it may be at south pole. Based on that also, your runoff will affect. Okay, the factors, the your runoff might get affected. Next is size and shape of the catchment area. Okay, what is catchment area? Means catchment area is a place where water comes and gets accumulated, is called as catchment area. Size and shape of the catchment area. What is size and what is shape of the catchment area? Means if the catchment area is small, okay, or if it is of irregular shape, then also definitely you won't have much runoff. Okay, if the catchment area is the catchment area should be carefully designed. Why? Because more and more amount of water should come and get accumulated. If you are not designing catchment area properly, obviously you won't get more amount of runoff water. Right. Next, nature of soil in catchment area. In catchment area, what is the nature of soil? Okay, in catchment area, whatever the soil is there, if it is absorbing more and more amount of water, then what happens? Obviously, the runoff water, the level of the runoff water will decrease. Next is weather conditions in catchment area. What are the weather conditions in catchment area? Also depends. If the catchment area, if it is in a hot type of area, then what happens? The storage of water, the runoff, the storage of water, or the what storage of water will be less, or the water will get more and more amount of water will get evaporated. Why? Because the weather condition of the catchment area is very hot. Okay, so these are the factors which are affecting the runoff. Right. Coming to the hydrograph. Hydro means water and graph means plotting. Okay, what is plot? Usually what do we plot? Why do we do plots? Why? Means we need to, if we want to study or we want to understand the behavior of a substance, or if you want to study its parameters completely, like voltage with respect to time, current with respect to time. Okay, like this way. Right. Hydrograph means this graph, usually graphs are plotted to study the nature with respect to time, or you should study one property of the material, or to study its parameter subject to various temperature conditions, or whatever may be the conditions. You have an x-axis and you have a y-axis. Okay, based on the change of time, or based on the changing of distance, or various based on changing of one parameter, you try to study the behavior of another parameter of that so and so substance. Right. So what is hydrograph? Is you are trying to study some parameters which are related to water. Curve indicating the variation of discharge with respect to time. Okay, discharge means how much amount of water is getting discharged, or how much amount of water is flowing with respect to time. So this is called as hydrograph. Okay, graph which is drawn to study the discharge with respect to time is called as hydrograph. See, you have discharge on y-axis and you have time on x-axis. Okay, so plotting of discharge with respect to time is called as hydrograph. Hydrograph provides the following information. What all the information hydrograph provides is it gives the information about discharge at any time. Okay, at any time, whatever may be the time, if they are plotting with respect to week, on that particular day, how much amount of water has discharged. If you want to know, then you'll come to know. If you are plotting hydrograph for one particular day, then at what time you want to calculate the discharge also, you can calculate. Okay, right. Second is maximum runoff during the period. Maximum runoff means maximum amount of water that has got discharged during that period. Right. You see in this graph, the maximum amount of runoff you have got at in between point number 2 and 3 on x-axis. Okay, minimum runoff during the period. What is minimum runoff during the period is you have a minimum runoff you have got between 12 and 13. So in this manner we will understand what is the maximum runoff which for discharge and what is the minimum runoff for the discharge. Right. Next is what is the average runoff during the period. Also, you'll come to know. I mean, for that particular week, what is average? I mean, sum of all the discharges divided by, I mean, for the respective time whatever you are trying to study, that is called as average runoff. So you, a hydrograph provides the information about a discharge at any time, maximum runoff, minimum runoff, average runoff. Here they have shown you maximum discharge and minimum discharge also. Okay, the units for discharge are meter cube per second. Okay, meter cube is the unit of volume. Okay, and second is the unit for time. Okay, the amount of water which has been passed per second they are trying to show. So, and the unit I mean the discharge is indicated with the letter capital Q. Right. Right, and fifth point number 5, whatever hydrograph indicates is total volume of discharge. Total how much of discharge, I mean for that particular week, how much amount of water has got discharged also you can study by using the hydrograph. Okay, if suppose particularly if we are not plotting a graph, if simply we are just watching at the discharge, simply we are observing. So we will have discharge of particular time, or hardly we can calculate or we can write down discharge for 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, if we are trying to plot, what happens is for a larger period you can get the information of provides you the all the information of discharge, runoff, maximum, minimum, total discharge. Okay, I mean total discharge can be easily calculated for that particular time period by using hydrograph. Right, next is flow duration curve. Okay, what is flow duration curve is discharge with respect to percentage of time is called as flow duration curve. Okay, it is used to determine the available power at that site. Okay, how much amount of power is available, then you can calculate by using flow duration curve. It gives the relation between flows and length of the time during which they are available. Okay, plotted time on x-axis and flow on y-axis. Usually for hydrograph or what may be the flow duration curve, mass curve, whatever. I mean the x-axis you will have time and y-axis you have discharge. So it gives the relation between flow and length of the time during which they are available. Okay, so in this way the flow duration curve will be plotted. That it is used to determine the available power at a site, means according to percentage of time. If you are trying to plot discharge, then that is called as flow duration curve. Okay, so with this flow, I mean the topic of flow duration curve also, see they have plotted a flow discussion and flow duration curve. Okay, on the y-axis they have given flow or discharge in meter cube per second, x-axis they have given time. Okay, the variations of flow with respect to time have been plotted using flow duration curve. Right, rearrangement of all the stream flow for percentage of time. Okay, how much stream of flow I mean is there for what percent of time. Okay, the area under the curve represents the total quantity of runoff during that period. As we are taking percentage of time, okay, at for 60% of time or 80% of time, for 100% of the time, so for that period of time the total amount of flow, whichever the total quantity of runoff whatever is there, that you can calculate easily. Okay, by plotting a flow duration curve. Okay, the total runoff, the total quantity of runoff whatever is occurring during that period, that you can that you can calculate by using flow duration curve. Next is called as mass curve. It is a curve. What is mass curve means? It is a curve that represents a total volume of runoff in meter cube for the given period of time. Okay, it will give a total volume of water in meter cube for the given period of time. Okay, volume of water with respect to time. How much volume of water is flowing for the given time, it will be plotted. See, I mean, the flow of water, I mean, during from starting from January to December, they have shown. Okay, right. And you are having maximum flow of water around December in the respective curve, in the curve which is shown in the slide. Curve is obtained from records of average monthly flows, right? First they take monthly average flow, and they give yearly average flow. Means mass curve means they will club some monthly average curves. Even you can have mass curve for some 4 or 5 years. Okay, so for that yearly average curves, average yearly curves, yearly flows you take and you try to plot. So this is called as mass curve. It is a curve that represents the total volume of runoff in meter cube for the given period of time. Right. Next is mass curve continued, time on x-axis and accumulative runoff on y-axis. Okay, on x-axis time is plotted, on y-axis runoff is plotted. Y-axis may be in second meter day or second meter month. Slope of the curve at any point gives the rate of flow at that time, right? If you take slope at a particular point, what you get, y-axis is slope is y by x, m is equals to y by x. So slope will give volume per second, means that is called as discharge. Slope of the curve at any point gives the rate of flow at that time, or q at that time, used for determination of capacity of storage reservoir. Okay, it will determine the capacity of storage reservoir. Okay, right. So your mass curve is, you are trying to plot volume of water with respect to time. Okay, here whatever they have shown, they have shown the volume of water with respect to time, in which month the volume of water which is flowing is maximum, they have shown. Okay, slope of the curve at any point gives rate of flow at that time. Okay, on x-axis you have time, and on y-axis you have runoff. Right. In this class, we have discussed, till now we have discussed about hydrology. Okay, hydrology is a study which is related to the water. I mean the water which is flowing on the surface of the earth, and along with that, the water which is flowing underground the earth. Okay, hydrograph is about, I mean, plotting of, you are trying to plot, I mean, the flow of water or the volume of water with respect to time. If you are taking for, I mean, you can plot hydrographs for some few hours, or for some days, or for weeks, or per year. I mean, you are having different names for the plotting. I mean, you are having different definitions for plotting hydrographs. You are having various definitions, which will come under hydrograph. Means, I mean, you are having various classifications under hydrograph. Based on different plottings, you are calling them with different names. Okay, you are having flow duration curve, you are having mass curve. Right. Next, on completion of this topic, we will be able to have an idea about classification of hydroelectric power stations. Already we know that, already I have covered almost all the parts of hydroelectric power stations. Just we have not yet covered with classification of hydroelectric power plants. Now I will cover that also. I mean, on what basis hydroelectric power plants are classified, that also I will explain in detail. Okay, there are four ways in on there are four things on which hydroelectric power stations are classified. The first point is based on hydraulic considerations. Hydroelectric. Second is based on waterhead, based on load or duty, based on location of powerhouse. Okay, so your hydroelectric power stations are classified on four, I mean, on these 4 points. Based on the 4 points, you have classified your hydroelectric power stations. One is hydraulic considerations, One is head of the water, one is load or duty, one is location of powerhouse. Right. Coming to classification of hydroelectric power plants based on hydraulic considerations. Hydraulic considerations means water flow. I mean, how the flow of water is there. Based on that, you have classified hydroelectric power plants. The first is runoff river plants without pondage, runoff river plants with pondage, reservoir power plants, pumped storage plants. Again, based on hydraulic considerations, I mean how water is flowing. Based on how water is flowing, I mean based on hydraulic considerations, uh, there are four types of hydroelectric power plants. Okay. First one is runoff river plants with pondage, runoff river plants without pondage, reservoir power plants, pumped storage power plants. Let us deal with runoff river power plant without pondage. Without pondage means hydroelectric power plant directly located in river. Means pondage means a place where we are trying to store water. Okay, you are not having pondage means you are not trying to store the water. Hydropower plant directly located in the river. If you are locating hydroelectric power plant directly in the river, dam least height is required. Hence, construction cost is low. As your power plant is being constructed or is not requiring any pondage, okay, it is located in the river only. Okay, means your river is only providing a good facility of water storage also. So whatever the dam height which you require, that also is less, as you are not constructing catchment area, reservoir, this all are not there. So your construction cost also will be very less. They work only when water flow is available. As there is no pondage, as there is no storage of water, that river should be a perennial river. If that river is not a perennial river, or that river dries off, then there won't be any water available. At high flow and low load periods, water is wasted. If suppose the flow of water, I mean, you are not trying to store water. Okay, the river is, I mean, continuously the river is flowing, and you are constructing, I mean, and your dam is there itself in the river. So at high flow and low load periods, water is wasted. If your flow is very high, okay, you can't generate electricity, and you can't store, if the flow is high. I mean, whatever the flow, I mean, whatever the required flow should be there. If the flow is high, then also it will be wasted. Why? Because you don't have any pondage. You can't store water wherever. I mean, like you are not having reservoir or this catchment area, so water will not be stored separately. So the amount that high flow and low load periods, water is wasted. Okay, even at low loads also, if the load is also low, then water, I mean, the flow of water is very high and load is not required, then you can't store that water also. Why? Because you are not having any source of pondage. Directly the water will be flowing and flowing. The amount of power available is also very low. Okay, this occurs, or this will be suitable or satisfied only if the water will be flowing through the river continuously, and whatever the flow which is required, that amount of flow is there only, then it will be useful. Why? Because you are not having a pondage, you will not try to store, I mean, you can't store the water. So that is a negative point, that whenever you want to generate electricity, you can't generate in this type of power plant. During rainy seasons, these plants are used on base load portion. During rainy seasons, usually all the rivers try to overflow. Okay, I mean, there will be huge amount of water available during the rainy seasons. So these plants are used on base load portion. So you can use these plants are base load power plants. Okay, so this is runoff river power plant without pondage. Runoff river power plant with pondage. Right, what is the difference between runoff river with power plant without pondage and with pondage? We will try to understand. Right, and next point is pondage refers to storage of water. Pondage means like pond. Okay, small pond means where you are trying to store the water. The usefulness is increased by pondage. Okay, usefulness means we will try to use water properly, and we will not waste water. That is possible by pondage only. More pondage, firm capacity of the plant increases. Firm capacity means the stable capacity. I mean, more pondage. If you are able to store more amount of water, then definitely firm capacity of power plant also increases. Comparatively more reliable. Runoff river power plant with pondage means comparatively more reliable. It is more reliable compared to runoff river power plant without pondage. Okay, so this power plant is comparatively more reliable than runoff river power plant without pondage. They can serve as base or peak load power plants. As you are able to store water. Okay, whenever you want to generate electricity, then you can go ahead and you can generate. Okay, even when the demand for load is less. Okay, then you can stop the generation. That also will not be a problem. Why? Because water will be stored in pondage area. So this is the reason that runoff river power plant with pondage is more advantageous over runoff river power plant without pondage. Right. Coming to the next part, which is reservoir power plants. Reservoir power plants means power plants with huge water reservoir. Reservoir, it's like usually natural reservoirs are rare, or even if they are available also, there are a few natural reservoirs only there. So your reservoir power plants will have huge water storage capacity. Power plants with huge water reservoir, and water can be stored effectively, and flow also can be regulated. Water, I mean, whenever you want to store water, or if the flow of water is high, okay, then easily you can store water in your reservoir power plants. More power can be generated by using reservoir power plants. Majority of power plants are of this type. It can be used on any portion of curve. Okay.